right. Stream out there. Reason for this trade here, the short on NQ, is this 15-minute 3-2 reversal. So we went up, and it looks like we swept all these highs. So if I just draw an arrow here, I'm guessing the first move out of the market open was up, and then now we're going down. And if I look at my 1 minute, that is pretty much exactly what happened. So now it's up to the sellers to show that they want to maintain being in charge. We do have a 222 on the 5 as well, and a 3 bar on the 30-minute. Was there news this morning for gold or for oil? 6 o'clock, just straight up since 6. Interesting. All right, news this week. Nothing today. Tomorrow's consumer confidence. Wednesday, a couple speakers. No, Waller speaks at 1:15 a.m. And then crude oil inventory is Thursday's preliminary GDP and unemployment. Friday is PCE. So none of the main market movers. Next week will be NFP. Looking at SPY 560 puts. 561's at 0.61. Grabbing those. Missed my trim on NQ by 2 points, point and a half. Gonna average on SPY 0.57 average. Man, gold just dropping too. Getting some divergence here on ES and NQ. I'm bringing NQ up to risk free. NQ break even. There we go. $25 points hit NQ. I'm taking off the rest of SPY. Yeah, kind of split across the board right now. Nvidia fallen a little bit. Nvidia does have earnings this week, on Wednesday. Those are they're on runners right now, but is anybody's delta theta reading 0? I don't think so. I would refresh. Mine is yeah, mine is not. Mine is showing correct. I'm actually thinking more along the lines of Q's short than I am Apple. Or sorry, SPY, which is essentially Apple. All right, let me import a little watch list here. Wrong one. There we go. All right, clear on that. Okay, so So inside bar on Apple, I'm going to start looking. My eyes are going to start on the weekly time frame and then go to the daily and then the monthly. That's the order of importance here for me. Because if there's nothing on the daily, or sorry, nothing on the weekly, there's nothing on the daily for me to be interested in. ACCN's very interesting already. ACN. I'd be looking for 340s, 345s. Not incredibly liquid. Unfortunately, not liquid. Yep, 50 points hit on NQ. Finger on the trigger to get Q 474 puts. All right, I am in 0.57. Horrible fill. There it goes. I'm going short 1R 58. One R filled. Looking to get back in. .67 on Qs. Another 1R here, 48.25. Close and break even. Oops. Forgot to update that. Previous, the one at 40 or 58. Bill, hi Jesse, curious why you double dip sometimes. Why not buy more NQ shorts versus Qs? Well, they don't run linearly. Qs don't run linearly, so I will. Number one, I have an options account and a futures account, so it's nice to make money in both. But also, futures are more. You have to be very precise with your entry versus with options. I allow myself to average down, so for that reason alone, that's why I have why I'll do on options like I did on SPY earlier today. I'll average down if I'm confident in the trade direction, um, unless get a grenade entry versus a sniper entry. Going 1R at 48.25 on this 2-1-2 down, possibly. All right, filled. Morning. Filled at 48.25.
Yeah, I was gonna wait till like a little later when things slow down to ask a few questions, but sort of on the same topic. So again, I'm futures is basically all I know. I mean, I did start in forex.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning options now, but um, you're using options for your long term plays also, right? For your swing trades.
For swings, yeah. Not I don't do options for like the truly long term stuff is not options.
What
Like
do you use for?
like retirement stuff, I don't do options in that unless I'm doing covered calls. Filled 1R.
Okay, nice. Are you still doing the overnights? I was looking at your video on the recap. Are you still doing overnights?
Not as much. I do overnights when it looks like it could gap either way. But I've really been enjoying the swings because they trigger first. Also, 100 points hit NQ. Um, so the overnights essentially would be, for example, if AMD closes way down here, like a big red 3 bar, I'll be taking puts overnights. Um, or like same thing with Apple. If it anything that goes two up and then failed two up, I'll take. Um, that's kind of like here's a good one. Google or Goog, I guess. Same thing, Google. Um, if it goes up and then ends big red, then I'm going to be taking shorts or puts, expecting it to go two down the next day. Because if I look historically, it's more probable that um, it could go the other way. Like here on the two up, I wouldn't take this two down green because it didn't end towards the higher part of its one candle, if that makes sense. So when we came down here and broke, we didn't end. I would have rather seen it end up here. Oops. Right, like that. Make that red.
Right.
Um, and then I'd be taking longs there. But since we closed down here, I'm not interested in longs. But then I would have probably been interested shorts here. So this is a good example of why I'm a little, I'd rather wait until the next morning and maybe miss out on a gap, is because sometimes it will just, the next morning will be profit taking and then it gaps up and then takes all day to trigger. Then I have to sit through more drawdown. Also, my win rate on overnights is lower just because it is basically trying to get into a strat play or any play before it triggers. And expecting it's essentially overnights are mean reversion trades. So they are relatively low risk, high reward, but it certainly is not as sophisticated as swing trades where, I probably have around an 80% win rate and probably well over 2R on my average winner compared to loser. So that kind of long-winded answer to say waiting for the play to trigger the next day is generally a safer route to go on.
Yeah, I would like to get into to swings and some really just options in general.
Yeah.
I'm going through so I mean there's so many courses online like videos that kind of teach you it, so I won't bother you on that until I get a little bit of a hang on it. But
Bother me with what? Well, first of all, it's no bother to teach. I love to teach. Um,
okay,
I just, I won't spoon feed because I want people who are motivated to learn to learn, and then I'll pick up the piece. So like if there are videos to watch, I'll route you to those. But obviously, talking it through with someone is, I wish I had that. So I have no problem being that soundboard for you. Um,
right.
so yeah, if you have questions,
Oh yeah, because there are tons of videos on options and stuff. So I'm working my way through that. So I'm not even gonna bother you. That's why I was saying I'm not gonna bother you on that yet
gotcha.
until I have questions specifically. The are you still doing forex or crypto?
No,
No, you're not.
no, and the reason I'm not doing forex is yet. I might return is because futures prop firms are just so much. The entry price is better. The rules are better. The payout system is better. Also trims on Qs at point 0.9. So yeah, futures are just so much better. The firms are in a better spot than where Forex was. I started on Forex prop firms. I actually was with my my Forex funds before they had the huge legal case. Um, and so I've been with Forex firms, but like for example, on my funded futures, they have a company, a sister company that they started out as a Forex prop firm. So they were my funded Forex, well, they are my funded Forex. And then they ventured into futures. So if I pull up their Forex website, let me see. Sign in. They're 50K. Let's see. So they're one step. I would probably do the two step. A two step with the same drawdown as their 50K would be, instead of $80 would be $200. And there's no benefit to going forex over futures unless you want to swing trade, which is why I have said maybe or in the future, because I will eventually add some forex, but I also trade forex a little bit differently than futures. Futures is much more strat based, or the strat, versus forex would be more ICT, smart money concepts based, and it would be a lower win rate but higher risk to reward than I do now. So it's not that I really care about it, but it's not as flashy as options or futures where it's a high win rate, good risk to reward. The forex stuff is much more for professional traders who know, it's not all about having a 99% win rate. If you've been around me for any amount of time, my coined phrase is, if you have a 99% win rate but your one loser blows up your account, you have a 99% win rate in a blown account. So at the end of the day, it's all about risk to reward, but not everybody sees that.
Right. So I started working on I started doing a little back testing on the future, the currency futures. I didn't know. Have you looked at any of those?
You mean like 6E?
Yeah, 6J.
I have not. No. My uncle, who also came from Forex, he's now transitioned to NQ, but he did trade 6E for a while. 6E is pretty darn close to like Euro USD.
It is extremely.
So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. The only problem that you'll run into is you cannot hold over the swap period like you can on Forex. So, if I'm trading Euro USD, I'm probably wanting my chart to look pretty much like this here, like a 5-hour daily. And if I'm taking an hourly trade, I only have 10 10ish hours. Well, I guess technically 23 hours, but I'm probably only holding for like maybe 8 hours. And so if the first two candles don't go with me, then it's gonna be a tough trade to hold through. Versus if I'm trading on a forex platform, I can just hold through the swap, and as long as my stops aren't too terribly tight, then it won't be an issue. So that's the main benefit. Also, when you're talking about forex firms, if they offer CFDs, you could swing trade CFDs. Um, there's people who might want to hold gold all the way until it hits 2600, and they could put a 50-point stop on and go with, a quarter lot or even a tenth of a lot and just let it ride up to 2600, which you can't really do that on futures. So pros and cons to each.
All right, so here's my last question. It's more about the group. So with the alerts,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm new to a lot of this. I mean, the strat, I'm a few months in, so I get it, but it seems like you're for futures,
Mm-hmm.
you're more looking at the markets and taking trades based on what you see instead of the alerts. That's what it looks like. Are you
Say
looking
that again. I'm taking trades.
based on, I guess, what you see, live in the market because
Uh
things are
huh.
moving much faster?
Uh huh.
Are you using the alerts for the trades that you're taking for futures, or is it more for your swing trades or your options trades, things like that?
What alerts are you talking about? The ones
The
I send or the ones like the other people we
the ones
have?
in the ones in the Discord.
Yeah, I have a few, and this is what I would say for everybody is find out who kind of matches your style of trading. Um, like Slade trades strat. He doesn't alert all the time, but he trades strat, and I'll look at his trades. But like Bzilla is a good trader, but he trades more like volume stuff. So I'll look at his, especially on a day where I'm not seeing things clearly. I'll go through and look at alerts and see who's having what bias. I want to be really crystal clear that the alerts meant are not meant to make you money. They're meant to give you a heat map on what profitable traders are doing in the market. So if I'm short, Bzilla short, Slade's short, Nick is short, um, you know, all four of us make payouts, I would probably lean on not trying to go long in that case. Um, and
Yeah. What about, like, for instance, the scans that you guys have?
yeah, the
Those are
scans are proprietary. So I've made those. Those scans are strat based. Um, and then I also am working on it's a bigger project, but I'm working on the ones for multiple time frames, strat based for options as well.
is there like a video on how to, you know, use them or how to? Because you would have to have the alerts set up in the from your Discord, go to your phone or something like that to use the stuff.
Well, you can have your if you have the Discord app, you can get notifications and stuff. Yeah, no problem. Yes, sir. You're very welcome. Danny said use other traders to confirm your bias, but trade on your own. Best way. If Danny is short, go long. Nice. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Poop. There it is. Getting a 3-2 here on Qs. Powell, do you want and if you want me to call you something else, let me know. But do you want like basics, like how to understand Greeks and spreads, or what are you looking for specifically for options videos? Bill, what do you think of Mikey at Stockwitz? I have no idea who that is. I've only ever heard of Stocktwits, like the Twitter stock community, pretty much. But yeah, I don't. There are so many analysts, some that are good, most that are not. Some that trade real money, most that do not. So I don't really know everybody, but the ones that I can vouch for, those are the ones to attach to, in my opinion. I'm very new. We'll probably need Izzy. Let me find out this guy's name. He did a good job. He's not as active anymore, but he did options basics. He's like a blonde guy. He was pretty popular. Don't be afraid to make your own tweaks to the strategy as well. Like Jesse said, everyone trades a little different. I don't use the 15-minute anymore. I've dabbled in the 2-minute instead of the one. You don't use the 15? What do you use? I see my own patterns sometimes. Train features. Agreed. It's very individualistic. Um, as long as you don't mess with the actual strat of the strat, then you're fine. Then you can add whatever tweaks. But as soon as you go like 2-1-2 down's not a strat signal anymore, then that's where you'll probably get messed up. Trim 1.28 in Q or on the Qs. Oh, I'm Bill Kill. Usually West Coast guy. Gotcha. My kids mess with my YouTube account. I don't know if signed it. I gotcha. Jesse, do you have a video on when to take the trade? I don't know what you mean by that, Deontay. 1.4 on NQ or on Qs. Come on down, NQ, to the 200 pointer. Taking a 1R 52.50. Closing.
Jesse, real quick. Oh, and you can call me Powell. It's fine.
Pal. Okay.
My first name, yeah, it's pretty long, so I that's why I leave it like that. But um, just in your experience,
Hmm.
I think the reason why I'm kind of drawn to the way you do things just because of how organized you are, and and you kind of like you don't gatekeep. Like you can basically learn most of what you're doing if you just watch the videos, which I've been trying to go through all of your videos,
Yeah.
and just not able to.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and but if for a person like me who's looking to, and I have the time now, because
Hmm.
all stuff is rent, whatever. I'm trying to add this as a skill. It's something I've been working with for some time. But in your experience, if I wanted to add options to my skill set, and
Hmm.
I'm looking to organize the way that I um that I trade every day, because before it was just not consistent. I didn't, I've got to go out. I got so much stuff to do, but now things are slowing down and will be that way for the next few months.
Hmm.
If you had to kind of map out probably how I could get this done, I'm already in futures. I have a sort of okay foundation with it. I'm
Hmm.
working on the firms now. I'm just trying to build that, you know, consistency, and get into the you know, focusing on those 30% or 20%
Short,
consistency rules. So that
short 47.75. Sorry.
right. So yeah. So if you were to map out, let's say over the next 2 to 3 months, how I could, solidify myself in futures and move into options. So
Hmm.
I don't want to come into futures this morning. I can still take the longer term plays or swings, things that nature, and get back out into investing and stuff like that. I mean, in whatever I do, how would you map that out for me?
Are
If
you
I had some the next few months.
are you already profitable in futures, like taking
Not
payouts?
not with prop firms yet. I'm new to prop firms actually.
Okay. So
But I
so
have some good experience in futures and forex too.
so first I would really just focus on futures for now, and then take extra money you might have and throw it into options swings. Obviously none of this is financial advice. This is just what I would do if I had to start over. Um, I would try, and then this is a 20 point 1 hour trade, by the way, at 47. So I would start there, and really just because it's so much more scalable on the prop firm side of things, um, to you know to for example, it's so much easier for me to add an extra $2,000 a month in income with another prop firm account than it would be on options. Also, 200 points hit NQ and almost 20 points hit on the 1 hour. There's 1 hour. Sorry. Okay. One.
What do you mean by 20 points hit on a 1 hour? What do you?
So yeah, give me just a second. I need to trim these cues as well. $2 flat on the cues. By the way, before I answer, this is a testament that you don't need to have super tight stops to make. I mean, obviously, catching 200 points is not a daily thing, but this was with 50 points of a stop loss, and I am up over 5R right now on the day between 1Rs and the actual account. Okay, so, um, pal, your question was, remind me. Sorry, things got crazy when that thing was given out.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, I just wanted to kind of organize how to approach adding options and getting
Mm-hmm.
consistent with firms. Which the prop firms is just going to be me getting experience, and making sure I transition my thinking into base hits so that I don't mess up these accounts
Right.
and that.
Right.
But options, I guess, like I'm just gonna take a slow daily burn, maybe like an hour a day, just sitting down with some videos or some instructional stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I just want any advice on trying to add both of those things before the fall.
Yeah. So I would say the top prop firms would be the way to start on futures, which would be my funded futures, and then Top Step, and then Apex after that. After both of those are maxed, is the blueprint I would give anybody. If you are gonna do day trade or options, then swing trades would be probably the easiest place to start, especially with learning strat. Or you said you have experience in strat. Um, you can look through my swings channel and look and see every single trade that I've taken is most likely has some sort of note about strat, with the exception of the Baba leap that I did. Um, so I trade almost strictly strat on swings. Like, I think I would actually say I trade strictly strat on swings. And my year to date stats is a 80% win rate with a risk to reward at about 2.5 R. So my average loser is 61%, but my average winner is 160%. Um, and so obviously holding to 160%, especially if you're growing an options account, is probably not feasible unless you're trading with size or have break even set or whatnot. But if I were starting over, had this timetable of wanting to add this skill set for the fall, I would really just hunker down and work on prop firms, and then do swings on the side. I wouldn't even mess with options day trading because it's not very lucrative compared to futures unless you have size. And there are options prop firms that will enter the space over time, but right now there's not a huge assortment of those, and so it's just more lucrative. Like I said, to add another $2,000 a month in income it costs me about $200 if I'm doing a Top Step account, or $80 if I'm doing a My Funded Futures account. And at my level of being able to trade, that's all I need to add another 2,000. If I do 150K, obviously that's 3x what I just said. And so it's just more, you'll see results quicker with doing the futures prop firm side, but that's not to discourage you from looking into the option stuff, especially since you already have a foundation of strat to an extent. You said you're a couple months in, so you probably know most of the patterns and whatnot to really incorporate strat into swings. But yeah, those futures firms are probably going to show you a return on your investment, both time wise and monetarily quicker.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't want to do, the prop firms and options at the same time, especially based on, the information you give. Yeah, I agree with that. The swings are what I'm looking for. I kind of typed this in the chat here, but do you have any like videos on how you do your swing strategy, including like your risk management stuff like that?
No to the risk management, because that's very dependent on what you want to risk. Generally, especially on based on your account size. If I'm working with a $25,000 account, I'm not going to do 10% of my account into a swing trade. But if I have a $2,000 account, I probably have to do 10% of my account into a swing trade. So the risk management, unless you mean like the trade, like when to bring stops up and stuff, that part is pretty universal, and to the point where a foundational truth for my trading is I never ever let a green trade turn red. So that's why when you see me take a trim on futures, even if it's at half R, which is half times my risk, I'm bringing stops up to break even, because I'm not going to let this trade that I was correct on the trade for at least a little bit of time. I'm not going to let that end up losing me money. So that part of risk management is always foundationally true across any trading I do. So trims, when I take a trade at, if I take a trim at 20% profit, then I'm moving stops at least up to minus 5%. So that at the very worst, this trade ends green. But as far as the strategy goes, it's completely strat based. So I'm looking at the daily, monthly, and weekly timeframes, and then I'm looking for a strat signal or trigger on the daily or weekly. And I would like for it to, for example, let's just look at these swings. So I was looking at AMD short. I'm probably going to get into it tomorrow if it goes 3-2 down. It would have a 2-2 reversal on the weekly. It would have a 3-2 down on the daily, and the monthly would probably be close to being red again. And so that is full time frame continuity to the downside, and that would be a trigger for a short. There's really nothing super complex about my trading strategy for swings. It's just simply strat. If there's no trigger on the weekly or something to be triggered on the weekly, then there's no trade for me at all, regardless of what the daily is showing. So if I just show like a random, like Nike here, this is 312 up. It is inside on the weekly, but it's pretty close to being 222. And so this would be tempting for me to take calls on. I actually am very interested in taking calls on Nike. But yeah, there's nothing super complex about the swings. The day trades are a little bit more, when to decide between a 25 point stop and a 40 point or a 50 point. That's more dependent on the size of the candle that I'm working with. But yeah, I would say even on futures, I would say 75% of my strategy is still strat. I think you cut out there, pal. But Deontay, just do you take a trade once it hits levels or a certain rejection? Well, with strat, it is like as we see here on ES. As soon as this breaks, you could put a buy stop at 39.50, and that is technically when strat triggers to be long. So you would be long right now on ES. But it depends if you want to be. So a lot of times you can see like here on this 212 up that ended failed 2 up. You just have to be a little bit careful with those. West Coast guy said, dang, missed that 3-2 down because I was typing. I was going to add into it. I gotcha. Yeah, I do the 1 hour trades, which I'll actually talk about because I think Powell was talking about that as well. But I'll do that in just a second. Would you consider yesterday low 19542 a main target? Oh, well, that hit. So I guess so. Yeah, that would be a good target. Yeah, that's a good one. West Coast guy. Yeah, good eyes. So, for those who might be new to watching, the 1 hour trades are essentially when I will take a brand new trade while my trims account is going, is trimming. My 1 hour account, which takes profit fully every time at 1 hour, is obviously out of the trade. And so while this trade's still going down, I will add trades with a tighter stop loss, usually 10 points, sometimes 20 points profit. And I will do that on the 1 hour account, and I will add a couple extra trades essentially.
I'm sorry. So you're able to add. Are you trading prop firms right now?
Yeah.
And you're able. So does the prop firm you use not have the consistency rule, or
One of them does. Well, I guess 2 of them do. But yeah, I mean, Top Step does not. My Funded Futures does on their starter accounts, but it's a 40% consistency. Apex is 30%. So like Apex is the first to be shut down for the day. Then My Funded Futures, if I'm up, like I'm up 5R over 5R today, I'm not shutting that off, but I am probably done for the day, I would imagine, especially since it's coming to a close on my window. But I know that, 40% of 5 is what, another 4. I can, in my 4 other profitable days, I can make 4R total for sure. Um,
So you're adding. So when just if you could just go over that one more time,
yeah.
right? I want to make clear on it.
So I have an account that is trims, which let's say that I take 15 micros. I will trim, 7 off at 1R and then another couple off at 2R, et cetera, et cetera. I'll trim as we go down. But I have an account that is 1R, is my 1R account, where I take everything off all at once on my first trim. Or sometimes my 1R trim, I'll hold till the 1R. So with that 1R account, obviously when this hit 1R, are you familiar with the R, what 1R means?
Is that the risk to reward ratio you're talking about?
Correct, yeah. And you might know that anyway from Forex. But yeah, so once this hit 1R, so 50 points profit, my 1R account closed fully. And so I don't have, while my trims account is going down, 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 making profit, my 1R account doesn't have any trades on. And so I will look for 1R trades, extra trades on the 1R account that are lower time frame, tighter stop loss. So for example, this 2-1-2 down pullback, or actually let me just do this. Actually, I don't have the timestamps, I just have the results. But if I go to my Expo 100, so 10-12 was a 1R. So I can go back here and say I took this 3-1-2. And then, now when this 3-1-2 went plus 1R, now I'm up 2R in that account. And then at 10-15, I took another one. I took another one after that too. But yeah, this one was a plus 1R as well, so that's why I'm missing one from when we talked.
So you're content. That's cool. That's cool.
It can be lucrative. It can also be dangerous. So you have to be very disciplined, because you don't want to be taking 1R trades and then, in 3 minutes go minus 3R. But on days like today, you can definitely be making more profit than you would have just waiting for 5-minute setups. But there will be days that, I'll I went almost 2 weeks this month without a 1R trade, just because I wasn't catching big running trades like today. And so on days where we do get a clear direction, it can be very lucrative, as long as you're disciplined to take because I don't use hard stops on those 1R trades. So you have to be disciplined to take stops after it hits your level, and then make sure you're not going to lose all your profit and by going on tilt.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I was wondering how you get all of these trades in. When it just looks like a lot of trades on your futures, your journal, your recaps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it seems. But I can clearly see that now how you can get that in.
Yeah.
This is my question for the day, just so I don't take up all the time.
You're good. Go for it.
And I did ask it in the chat, I think, but it was just your advice, because I'm getting ready to start on prop firms probably sometime this week. I
Mm-hmm.
want to say tried one before, but I'm gonna actually start now with all my rules and everything I have set. Do you have any advice you could give me, maybe on just becoming consistent, or just to kind of bend the curve for me a little bit?
Yeah. So I will start with saying that once you have the technicals down pat, trading becomes the majority psychological. Um, and so I see Danny said trade small journal. Agreed with both of those. When I ran the inner circle, that was a mandatory piece for the inner circle crew, was to journal trades. And every single person that I had journal told me that it helped them with their trading. And when I ran the form for the applications, I think I still have it. Let me see. Yeah, responses, question. Wait. So I asked, do you currently track your trades? 64 responses, 58% of people, or 58 people said no. 87.5% of people did not track their trades. So that is the number one thing, because if you have a bad day and you don't journal, tomorrow you're not going to remember why you had a bad day today. And if you have a bad day and it's just statistical losses over and over, that's fine. That's great actually. But if you have a bad day and you went on tilt and you took 3 extra trades that you said you weren't going to do, or you traded outside of your trade window and it bit you in the butt, then that's where you're going to have some problems. So yes, 100% trade small and journal. It's so much easier to scale up in contract size than it is to scale down. Because if you see yourself making $200 in 5 seconds, and then it takes you 5 minutes to make $200, you're probably going to be a little bit more attracted to the one that makes it in 2 seconds. But you also have to realize there's downside to bigger size as well. You're going to also lose $200 in 5 seconds sometimes. And I think the number one shortcoming in traders, especially with prop firms, is just they don't understand the insane opportunity that they're given with trading on a prop firm. Like, you can't tell me another profession where you can go from knowing nothing to making hundreds of dollars in an hour, by trading. And I think people see too many times all these people who trade on combine accounts or valuation accounts or even paper trading, and then just share it onto Twitter that they made $20,000, but then, they clearly didn't make $20,000. But then people set that as the expectation, when really, if you can make $200 a day on one prop firm account, you can clear those insane numbers by making $200 a day and scale up with accounts rather than size. Have 6 accounts, or you can have 5 accounts with Top Step. That's $1,000 a day. You can have 3 accounts with My Funded Futures. That can be either $600, or if you do the 150K, $1,800 a day. And I can tell you now, almost nobody who has learned trading needs to make more than $1,800 in a single day. And so, all this to say, set your expectations low and then exceed them, rather than set your expectations high and say, I need to make $2,500 today. And then you're going to be making mistakes all the way to trying to make that $2,500 because your daily goal was $2,500 instead of it being $200. So that's my really long-winded answer to say, set your expectations low and exceed them, rather than set your expectations through the roof, and then you're going to be making mental mistakes trying to meet those expectations. And then Danny also said a fast rule for when to stop trading. I have that. It's coming up in 2 minutes, 11 o'clock. I very, very rarely trade outside of my 9:45 to 11 o'clock window. So that is also, whether it's an actual time that you find that you make the most money, or a day that you don't trade. For me, that's Fridays usually. That will be another piece. Find out what days or times you're profitable, then stick to those times. Usually the morning session is the best. Power hour can be good, but definitely the morning session.
Thanks a bunch, man. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. I appreciate you asking questions. I am going to go ahead and close NQ in profits and Qs in profits and be flat. Alrighty. Well, that is it for me today. Gonna go ahead and lock out the account. Close all the trades. And calling it. Alrighty. I love y'all. If you're going to keep trading, use stop losses. Don't blow your account one trade. If you need anything from me, please reach out. And I'll see you all here tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.